Pop quiz, hotshot.
There's a bomb on a bus. If it drops below 50 miles an hour, it blows up. What do you do?
Welcome to Now Playing Podcast's Speed Retrospective Series.
Okay, look, man, we don't have to go so fast, all right? Just slow down a little bit, all right, man? Just slow down.
Hosted by Jacob.
Oh, we got all the balls in the world right here, man.
Stuart.
Sorry? He's highly irrational.
And Arnie.
I love my car.
But be warned, this episode will contain detailed plot spoilers and strong language.
Fuck me.
Oh, darn.
We hope you enjoy the show.
Please, sir! This side of the bus!
Hold on!
Today we're discussing Speed, starring Keanu Reeves, Dennis Hopper, Sandra Bullock, Joe Morton, Alan Ruck, and Jeff Daniels, directed by Jan De Bont. This is the Now Playing co-host who sits in the crazy but not stupid section, Arnie.
And Stuart.
This is Jacob, and I'm such a yokel. There, I said it. Also, how is Alan Ruck getting above Jeff Daniels?
Jeff Daniels is the and, so...
Okay, got it. That makes more sense then.
Welcome to the beginning of a mini Jan De Bont retrospective series. We're going to be covering Speed, Speed 2, and Twister, leading up to a movie he has no involvement with, Twisters.
Yeah, I think he's banned from movies now. After that Tomb Raider 2, they just said, you stop. Haunting, it was over.
But Speed is a series that I honestly didn't think we'd get to, but is a fun one to discuss here at its 30th anniversary. Yes, it was 30 years ago I went to theaters to see this highly anticipated summer 94 film.
But it wasn't. The 90s, just FYI, sidebar, one of my favorite things to do, Entertainment Weekly would come out, or, just like, here's your summer movie preview. Speed was like number 30 on the list of could-be hits. Nobody saw this coming except executives at Fox. This wasn't supposed to be the runaway hit. It was a sleeper. That's the word for it. This was a movie that wasn't expected to do that much business, that ended up being better and doing better than anyone had any estimation for. When we look at who was involved, how much it cost, what it's about even. Oh, sure, we all want to spend 2 hours on a bus in LA. That's like my nightmare.
I mean, people do that daily. That's their life. And yeah, I don't envy that.
Not me. I will just go ahead and say I will ride subway trains all day long. I will take subway trains and commute an hour longer if I don't have to take a bus transfer. I can't stand the bus.
It's just confusing. I don't understand how, you route it. Yeah, it's not very convenient.
No. If you're on city streets, I want to be in my own car. I don't want to be on public transportation. But I support public transportation.
just not for you.
Not using it.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm just not buses. Get me drones, get me whatever, segways, anything.
Well, I remember this movie coming out, and yeah, I don't remember a whole lot of anticipation for it. I was also reading those Entertainment Weekly summer movie previews. That was my most hotly anticipated issue every year, is to see what was coming out that summer. But what got me in theaters for this, I don't think it was opening weekend, but the reviews of this were very good. And I was very heavily influenced by reviews back then, and Entertainment Weekly liked it. Most of the things I was seeing were very good about it. And I'm like, maybe I should go give this a shot. Keanu's on my cool list.
He was not. That's a lie. You did not like him in 1994.
The last thing I'd seen him in was probably Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. So yeah, I liked him in 1994.
That was 4 years in between. You did not. Again, I want to stress this. No one knew who Sandra Bullock was. No one knew who Jan De Bont was. And Keanu was a joke. This movie changed that for all of them.
To your point, Stuart, I don't have any memory of trailers. I know I didn't see this in theaters. I saw it. My sister, that's right under me, younger than me, by a couple years, she bought this on VHS because apparently she saw it in theaters. And like Tango and Cash, she's like, this is the greatest movie ever made.
Oh.
And again, this was probably a year later because you had to wait for physical media back in those days from theatrical releases.
You did.
And so I popped it in. I watched it once. It's a simple movie. It's stuck in my mind. It entertained me. I've never watched it again. But yeah, it was a fun movie. That was my memory.
And you say no one knows who Sandra Bullock is, but she was part of the reason I went to theaters because I was a big fan of Demolition Man, and I knew her, and I'm like, that's the girl from Demolition Man. She's cute, she's fun on screen. I'll go see a movie with her in it.
Sure. Okay. Yes, Arnie has that relationship with actors, but most people didn't know she went from being a wannabe Julia Roberts into actually beating Julia Roberts out for parts after this. She became a major star for being in this movie. And to your point, Arnie, we think about going to the movies now. Well, if you don't go in the first 3 days, don't bother because it's already at your house, right? But yes, 1994, you could have a movie come out and 4 or 5 weeks later, hear from your friends it's really good and find that it's still playing and contribute to its long legs box office. That's what happened to me. I wasn't really that interested in it, and I just kept hearing everyone talk about it. And it got to the point where I felt like, all right, I like cinema, so I want to go see what people are talking about. FYI, I didn't like it. Not surprisingly, this was the summer right before I really started my heavy coursework in film. I couldn't have been less interested in commercial Hollywood productions.
Yeah, that was film school, Stuart. We're now into 15 years of now playing, Stuart, where you've tolerated a lot of trash.
Sure, and 30 years beyond that. But yes, in 1994, same year as I think Tarantino, Pulp Fiction, Natural Born Killers, indie cinema was thriving. I had my movies. I didn't need to go see that other stuff. A movie like this felt retro. It felt like something that I would, watch as a babysitter. But at a movie theater, I just wasn't into the movie for lots of reasons that we'll talk about as we get into it. But I hadn't thought about it since. And yeah, it does seem to be a good time to go back. 30 years is, I think, a good time to think about how we've changed. And everything from riding a bus to going to a movie theater seems to have changed in that time. Is it still relevant?
Now, you say Keanu wasn't a huge deal in 94. I don't think he was the joke you make him out to be. Wasn't he actually liked in Dracula?
No. Have you forgotten how, hated?
He's pretty bad in it.
Hated! Everyone would just, he'd be in the movie and people would laugh. I remember being in the Dracula screening and people would laugh every time he opened his mouth. He could not grow up. People liked him for being a surfer dude. And this is the movie that made him a leading man and an action star. Yes, he had done Point Break, but that more or less traded on his surfer dude image. And it wasn't that big a hit, by the way, either. I think it only made $60 million. It was a cult film. But by and large, he was growing out of the Bill and Ted roles and doing things like Little Buddha and falling on his face. He was in Dog Star because he thought he could have a musical career.
He's still touring with that band, by the way, so it worked.
And I've never heard a note from them. They might be genius, but what I can tell you is we all laughed until Speed, and then he had a new level of credibility. He made 5 more years of bombs, and then Matrix sort of put him back again.
That's what I was going to say is Speed was a high point. I mean, after Speed, Johnny Mnemonic, Chain Reaction, A Walk in the Clouds. That's why I thought he was on the upswing in 94, because 95, 96, 97, I thought he was done.
Yes, this is the movie that establishes him as an action leading man, and how well that holds, you like Devil's Advocate, but for the most part, yeah, the next 5 years until Matrix was kind of hard on him.
He wasn't their first choice. They also looked at Tom Cruise, of course.
Yes.
When don't they look at him?
This is a Tom Cruise movie. I mean, again, watching this movie, I had that reaction. The haircut, some of the stunts that happen in here. I'm like, oh yeah, this feels like Mission Impossible.
They also talked about Wesley Snipes, who makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, he did action. Any of those action guys, Seagal or Van Damme, anybody.
Well, that's not who they went to other than that. The 2 outliers that made me raise my eyebrows were Tom Hanks and Woody Harrelson.
Tom Hanks would have just had the Oscar. I don't know. That's a terrible choice.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks as a rah-rah bravura bomb squad guy leaping on top of buses and trains?
I think they were trying to figure out the tone, because the Sandra Bullock role, they offered it to Ellen DeGeneres, where it was going to be not a romantic interest, but a wacky sidekick type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also looked at Meryl Streep for that role.
What? Okay, just stop.
What? Then it would have been Oscar nominated.
Just stop. Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks in Speed is another universe I wish I could peek into and see that film. But their agents wouldn't have given that to them to wipe their ass. There's no way they would have read that script.
And also Halle Berry was up for the role. I could see it with Halle Berry. I think that would have worked.
Sandra Bullock and Halle Berry are the same thing in my mind.
I would love to see Sandra Bullock do a bad African accent and put on that wig for Storm.
She could do superhero stupidity. I mean, I guess she has not, though, right?
No.
Nope.
Never, unless you count the net.
No.
And then, of course, Dennis Hopper in here, post Mario Brothers, so you want to talk about career slumps, but he also had True Romance the same year, so...
No. Some actors are just bulletproof. Dennis Hopper can be in 50 bombs and it wouldn't matter, because then he's in Blue Velvet. When he hits, you remember him for that, and you forget all the crap that he made in between. Michael Caine is another one of those. Yeah, so many stinkers, but you just remember the gems. And Jaws the Revenge.
Well, yeah, I mean, by the end, Dennis Hopper was doing Crow 4, so no, unfortunately, I don't believe he had hits near the end. This may have been a last hurrah for him as well.
Again, Dennis Hopper is not an actor that's going to go away because he made 5 bad movies. Keanu Reeves, Sandra Bullock, they're stars. He's a character actor. And yes, villains in the 90s. I feel like he must have played this role 100 times. It wasn't a new revelation to see him be a cackling mad bomber.
Yeah, Reed talked about him in Waterworld.
Yeah, exactly.
And while we're talking about people who almost got the job, Jan De Bont wasn't the first choice for director on this. The first choice was John McTiernan, director of Die Hard. And he turned it down because he said this is too much like Die Hard, and he's the one who suggested Die Hard's cameraman, Jan De Bont.
Yeah, let's reflect on that. Jan De Bont wasn't offered it because Jan De Bont wasn't a director. This is the movie that turned him from the go-to guy to film your action movie to the go-to guy to make and direct your action movie. This is a huge leap. This movie's pretty cheap. My understanding is it was only about $30 million, which compared to like Die Hard 3, which $100 million.
Yeah, this was a low-budget affair.
It worked to this movie's advantage. There were no expectations for this thing to be anything. And then lo and behold, they could swoop in summer of 1994 and make, I think it was about 120 here in the US and 230 more internationally. Big hit.
People love buses. That's the takeaway.
No, they don't. But people might be afraid of buses, and setting Die Hard on a bus maybe makes sense. Let's talk about it. Arnie, give us the plot.
Well, this is a high-concept film. I'll try to keep to a high-level plot summary. Dennis Hopper plays Mad Bomber Howard Payne. And there's just not enough Mad Bombers anymore, if I can have an aside. The Mad Bomber was like a thing in the 80s, but you just don't have Mad Bomber stereotypes anymore like you see here.
Ever since they brought down the Unabomber, they went away in the 90s.
I mean, is 9/11 not a bomb? I mean, I guess it's a plane bomb, but I feel like terrorism is still a thing.
Yeah, but bombs, it's different.
Yeah, in the Tommy Lee Jones, I'm cackling as I hold a round bowling ball with a wick on it, sparking.
Yes, exactly, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I guess it's been a hot minute.
Like some kind of handlebar mustache to twirl, yes, bring it back, a top hat.
Mm-hmm.
An ex-cop, Dennis Hopper's Howard is upset by his pension and lack of gratitude for his service, so he enters a high-rise and uses a bomb to trap an elevator full of people. He says he'll use another bomb to kill those hostages if he isn't given $3 million in the next hour. His plans are thwarted by LAPD officers Jack Traven, played by Keanu Reeves, and his partner Harry Temple, played by Jeff Daniels. Those two free the hostages and almost capture Howard, but Howard appears to blow himself up. Howard is alive, though, and plotting his revenge. He puts another bomb on a city bus. That bomb will be activated when the bus hits 50 miles per hour, and then will detonate if the bus drops back below 50. Howard calls Jack to tell him of the plot as a way of getting back at the cop. Howard says if Jack tries to get any of the people off the bus, he'll detonate the bomb early. He'll only deactivate the bus if he's given $3.7 million. Jack finds the targeted bus and jumps aboard the moving vehicle. One passenger with an illegal firearm pulls a gun on Jack, and the bus driver is accidentally shot. This forces a passenger named Annie, played by Sandra Bullock, to step up and drive the speeding vehicle. There are many close calls on the freeway, But eventually, Jack navigates Annie to drive the bus onto the LAX runway, where it can circle endlessly. Jack then realizes Howard has a camera on board the bus watching them, so that's how he'll know if Jack tries to get any of the passengers off the bus. Jack's captain has a news crew loop the video going to Howard, so Jack is able to evacuate the bus. The empty vehicle slows down and blows up, taking an airplane with it. Wanting to capture Howard, the LAPD proceeds to deliver the payment as instructed, with cops everywhere to watch Howard make the pickup. But Howard uses the LA subway system to get the money from underground. He also takes Annie hostage so he can escape. Jack gives chase on the LA subway. Howard kills the subway driver so the train is out of control. Jack and Howard get in a fight atop the subway car and Howard is beheaded. Jack then goes to Annie and they hold on for dear life as the subway car crashes through a construction area and out onto Hollywood Boulevard. And Jack and Annie survived and talk about getting into a relationship together as credits roll. And as we start, can I just give a shout out to Mark Mancia with the score here? What a great score Speed has. I absolutely love this score. I've been listening to it this week, and, you know, he did the first Bad Boys films the next year. He just has a way with themes that really work for action films.
I mean, I haven't been rocking it, but I did notice it. I'm like, oh, this is a solid score. Like, it got stuck in my head. It would, like, keep going even after it stopped in the movie. Yeah, it's an effective score. It didn't distract. It added to the tension. Like, I did notice, I'm like, this is just a solid score for this kind of movie. Like, I'm not going to go buy it, but it works when you're watching the movie.
Yeah, I mean, my note was, it sounds like every other action film from the 1990s. Like, it's got the horns. It just has the bombast. It's what you expect. It delivers what you would think it would do.
I would say a little bit more, because, again, it was a bit of an earwig. It got stuck in my head after watching it.
Yeah, the ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. It's just, there's a melody to what he does.
Yes.
That's better than your average, say, Under Siege score.
Okay, if you say so.
Someday we'll have that discussion, I'm sure.
I can't think of what the Under Siege score is, but I bet you it sounds a whole lot like this. And we start in an elevator. This was kind of a surprise, but this movie, I did remember it transitions to a train at one point, but I forgot that it started with an executive meeting letting out and a bunch of bigwigs laughing and joking and going into their posh, nobody else can ride with me elevator and becoming hostages.
That's funny because my memory was elevator and bus. I had forgotten about the subway until it showed it. I'm like, oh yeah, there is this whole third act action scene. But I did think it was a little ironic. These opening credits, like we are descending down that elevator shaft for a movie called Speed very slowly.
It is an interesting visual for the opening credits. I don't realize right away that I'm looking at an elevator shaft because you don't see moving elevators. It could be a building at night with windows. I'm not quite sure what I'm seeing as these titles get wiped in and wiped out, but it's a fine opening credits sequence. Like I said, the score's the winner here until, yes, we get all those people on the elevator, and this movie's not going to waste any time. We get right into the action with this, with Dennis Hopper killing a guy with, what is that, a pencil in the ear and setting off a bomb.
Just another Tuesday for Dennis Hopper, frankly.
No, I agree, Arnie. Like, it's always moving, despite my joke about those slow opening credit crawl down the elevator shaft. Like, it gets to the action right away. We're going to get a death. Like, we know Dennis Hopper, bad guy. And yeah, that bomb goes off, and now we got to rescue these people.
Not only that, but the hero comes in literally flying. Like, I think it's hilarious that Keanu and Jeff Daniels, same year as Dumb and Dumber. Am I wrong?
No, it is the exact same year. I looked that up. He really had a strange year, didn't he? With this serious role and then going on to have massive diarrhea on a toilet.
Yeah, I don't remember him in this film. I remember him in Dumb and Dumber.
I remember that he was in this film, but again, he's not, I mean, Keanu wasn't my go-to for action, but he definitely wasn't. They had to really go to some beta to like find someone less action-y than Keanu.
In the original script, it was this role who was the villain. He was going to be this cop, and so it would have made more sense to have Jeff Daniels turn out to be the secret mad bomber, the way it's cast, than to just have him be the supporting dead meat.
Yeah, here's my question, and I may have missed it, but I know they're LAPD. Like, is this just what normal beat cops do, or are they SWAT? Like, Jeff Daniels is doing detective work later. Is it ever clarified? Did I miss something?
I learned something, actually, actually, while researching this film. SWAT is nothing but regular detectives who have this gear ready and are on call. They could be undercover or whatever, and when you call for a SWAT team, these trained cops who are doing other stuff come in, don the gear, and are now part of the SWAT team. It's not like you have a SWAT team just sitting around twiddling their thumbs for a special escalated incident. And so I think they are detectives who are also, when called upon, SWAT members.
Yeah, but I think Jacob's point is, are they part of Bomb Squad?
Jeff Daniels knows a lot about bombs.
Yes. The way I read it is, he's the old seasoned pro who's probably supposed to be close to retirement, because he's probably like 40 years old, the old guy. He's the brains. He knows how everything works. He's partnered with this kid who is, again, the way that they enter here, it is the car, it's like it hasn't even touched the pavement. They are flying in to this situation. He's volunteering to run up to the roof. Like, there's nothing really to be done. They're trying to get the money for the guy, but this kid, all on his own, decides, why don't I go hang off of the crane on the roof and try to hold on to this car before it blows? Before Mission Impossible, I want to point out, I have this a few times in this movie. I feel like I've seen this scene of a short-haired guy dropping down on a wire, and, you know, Tom Cruise very famously in Mission Impossible does that same stunt, but this movie does it first. It beats Mission Impossible and Tom Cruise in many respects to the punch.
I can't imagine Keanu's doing it, though, like Tom Cruise would.
Probably not.
No, and he's not doing as much dangling. It does give me a little bit of vertigo when they're in that elevator shaft, and this is where we get introduced, before they go get the crane, to their pop quiz, which is something that they only do once, but I think we're supposed to say Harry and Jack do this all the time. Harry asking Jack, you know, you've got this scenario, you're at an airport, a gunman has a hostage using her for cover, he's running away to an airplane, what do you do? And we find out Jack's a renegade. He'll shoot the hostage, which pretty sure gets your badge revoked the first time.
And I gotta say, this is a film I've only seen once, but pop quiz, like, that is something that has stuck with me. Another earworm like this score. This is a real, like, corny when you look at the plot, B-movie action film, but it hits these points where it's just gonna make itself known, it's gonna get in your head, it's gonna make it memorable. Like, it's not doing anything amazing, but it's giving you what you need. You need those callbacks, you need these little things, and it knows its fundamentals, I guess is what I'm really saying. Like, so often a film doesn't even have those. Like, it just has those fundamentals, and it makes it so much more entertaining and memorable.
What I think may have helped this is it did get an uncredited rewrite from Joss Whedon. He redid about 95% of the dialogue, is what is said. And he was brought in after De Bont and worked after the screenwriter. You know, Joss Whedon has a way with dialogue, making it feel natural, has a way with getting people to feel like they have a rapport on screen and dealing with teams. And so I do think that may be one of the reasons why everything clicks so well in the dialogue of the script.
Well, you say that, but actually this is one of the things that pissed me off when I originally watched this movie, was that there is a theme, and it's established right here. Old guy quizzing young guy is the setup, and the message is experience, brain power, using your head, don't do it. Instinct is king. And I just remember, you know, we remember pop quiz not because Jeff Daniels asked him. The pop quiz is, how do you help with an airline hijacking? And his response is, you just shoot the hostage and take him out of the equation. But I guess Dennis Hopper is listening to them as they're going through this scenario, and he will co-opt the pop quiz phrase because he is going to taunt Keanu for the rest of the movie for not being smart as him. I guess that's age, you know, wisdom versus youth and vitality. I did not remember that they saved the hostages. Honestly, in movies like this, usually you want to have a death that scars your hero, right? They lose their girlfriend in the elevator or something, you know, like I remember that Jeff Daniels died. I thought it was here.
No, this is a really tense elevator rescue that I've always, again, saw this once, have always remembered it because, yeah, the elevator's only part way down to where the door is, so they're like sliding out and then it keeps dropping down and then they have to like climb up to actually get out. And yeah, there's of course the one person that's scared and gets out at the last second. Like, fundamentals, like, it's tense, it's memorable, and yeah, it gets me to lean in and like think, you know, if you have that save the cat moment, I'm like, okay, these guys are good at their job. They overcame this almost impossible task.
Is that how you would frame it, though? I would figure you would have this be the scarred thing that he has to redeem himself for. The atonement story versus, oh, his instincts are always right and he doesn't need any experience and he can just sort of do everything better. Like, I feel like that's a Mary Sue instinct I don't like to see in characters.
I don't know. Maybe someday we'll do Cliffhanger, because I didn't like that about that one. That's how that one goes about it.
There is a rumored sequel. So yes, we will be doing that.
I mean, you talk about it, and that is a weather-worn trope, Stuart, about, they could fridge somebody here and have him want revenge, but I kind of like the way this goes. Again, full action, full heroics from the very beginning, setting this guy up as a hero to root for in this movie.
You say that, but what does he have to learn? What is his arc? The arc is just get out of my way, right?
Well, I think the arc is don't shoot your partner, because I do feel like it's a funny moment because it's a callback to that conversation they were having, shoot the hostage. But that's also not a great thing.
But there's no repercussions for it. I mean, that's actually the correct answer. That is the answer to the pop quiz. By shooting Jeff Daniels, once they find Dennis Hopper in the freight car, it allows him to save the guy.
Look, Jeff Daniels is going to leave this film, and I don't even think we get proper respects for the way he goes out. It's just oh yeah, he's no more in this film. And so, yeah, this is a B movie. And I agree, if this was a legitimate, serious film, these themes would pay off and carry out. But no, characters come and go as they're needed.
Yeah, I think this is a film completely about action, not about arcs. I don't think there is a character arc in this film. Not for the good guys, not for the bad guys. It is adrenaline, and the camera is moving. I don't know if there's a single shot in this film where the camera isn't whipping or panning or zooming or dollying. Everything is moving so fast, it sweeps you up and it transcends character development.
Okay, but just understand, Stewart in 1994 has just learned about the subtextual power of films and is spending all his time deconstructing and comes to something like this and goes, what? What's the point? You're just telling me that it's better to be stupid. And I actually took offense to it. It was actually part of the reason why I didn't have a good time. I don't really like Keanu to start with, and then I don't really like this character because he has nothing to learn and is proud about it.
Okay, that's Stewart in 1994. How does Stewart in 2024 feel?
Prepared for it, remembering that was the story, and feeling like, to your point, that this is a good B-movie setup. That this is going to take 3 different scenarios of claustrophobia, elevator car, bus, and train, and try to exploit as best you can setting a movie there. That is an art. It is not easy to confine a movie in a narrow space and have it feel exciting. My instinct would be, if you're going to stick people in an elevator car, stick people in a bus, we're going to get to know them. There's going to be character work. There's going to be lots of dialogue. It's going to be a character piece because you have nowhere to go. What I can compliment Jan De Bont for doing, and as a cinematographer, it makes a lot of sense, is he has an eye for finding where you can place camera and make even stationary moments have velocity.
Which, in a movie called Speed, is what I want. I want it to feel like that, not just be about a bus having to go 50 miles an hour, but I want the movie to feel fast.
It does. I mean, that is the compliment I can give it, is that this is a 2-hour movie that will whip you right through.
Does not feel like it.
No.
Yes, it will carry you through. There's truth in advertising here. This movie has speed.
I was shocked a little bit at this opening because Dennis Hopper does get Keanu in that freight elevator down on the ground, puts a rifle to his head and pulls the trigger. It's just bad luck that he was out of ammo because he shot the roof of the elevator so many times, but he was ready to execute Jack in this scene.
And it wouldn't have mattered, right? Again, that was what I was expecting. Kill Jeff Daniels, you killed my mentor, I've got now a reason why I'm hunting you. It would have been an easy thing to accept. Instead, they're going to turn it into the joke that Keanu gets a medal for shooting him in the leg. And they just assume that Payne, he just goes running off and the parking lot explodes, so they think he's dead.
Yeah, they think he blew himself up. He was wearing a suicide bomber vest and holding on to one of those triggers that if he releases it and drops it, it would explode, which is why Keanu can't just shoot him when he's leaving. Although there is a cut scene where Keanu does take some shots at him, and I'm glad they cut it, because that's a really dumb-ass move, is to shoot the bomber, that if you shoot him, he blows everything up. But Yeah, everybody thinks that Howard is dead.
But not for very long. Like, this film is not going to hold secrets and present twists. It's about moving fast. And yeah, as this ceremony's going on, apparently televised, like, I've never seen this televised in LA, but in 1994 Speed LA, they televised these things. And yeah, it's being watched by Howard. And I thought, like, we see his hand and he's missing a thumb. I'm like, oh, he lost it in that explosion we just saw. I guess that is not going to be the case.
No, we saw in his introductory scene, before we see his face, of course, I can recognize Dennis Hopper's cackle from anywhere. We hear him before we see him, and before we see his face, we see that he's working on the wires down at the bottom of the elevator shaft. And yes, we are to understand that he has a disfigured hand.
Okay, I missed that shot.
They look like burns. And later, knowing that he had worked on the bomb squad, I guess that's a hazard of the job.
It is funny because he'll constantly, for the rest of the movie, hold the phone to his left ear with his right hand.
Yes.
So it's always crossing his body, and it just is a weird way to hold a phone crossbody like that, but it's because he doesn't have a thumb on his left hand, I guess, and also, I don't know, maybe he has lost some hearing with the bombs as well, and he can only use one ear with the telephone.
I love the way he opens Coke bottles because he doesn't have that thumb. Yeah, he has his own unique method. Throughout this, there is product placement for sure, but yeah, he pops off that top and using his ambidextrous other hand. All right, you ask about Stewart in 2024. One thing I could not have appreciated this movie for in 1994 is I had never been to LA. I didn't know anything about location, what it meant. You could have told me that the Hollywood Boulevard was right by the water, and I would have believed you. But the fun of it coming back now is this next scene is literally filmed a block from where I used to live. When we see the ballerina clown and the firehouse and all of that, I used to go in there all the time.
I was thinking of you, Stuart, because they kept mentioning Venice and you lived out that way. So I'm like, oh, this is where Stuart was.
This was my hood. I mean, again, literally one block away, you would have seen me. And what great fun to have a movie, not only to show off my old neighborhood, but just to show off LA. This is fun. If you love to see cities as characters, I think that this movie is a really great showcase for all the different kinds of LAs you could experience.
Yeah, I agree. This is a well done way to showcase the city, although much of it takes place just on a freeway.
That's an infamous freeway. I got stories about the 105.
Yes, I was about to say, that is the most real LA. That is the LA that unifies all of us that live in LA.
That freeway really was not open. Like, that's like a 40-year build. Like, oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, every car on that freeway was a production car because it was not a done road while they were using it. But yeah, you get this great shot as Keanu's coming out of a coffee shop. You're doing this like 360 around his car, and in the background, a bus blows up where he happened to be friends with that bus driver, knew him from the coffee shop. The bus driver saw he get his medal on TV.
I'm like, okay, like apparently everyone just knows Jack. Yeah, Bob the bus driver walks in, gets a coffee with him. But I guess here's that death. If you need a death to set you on a dark path, it's this perhaps?
You will forget that there was another bomb that went off. It's early, and nobody is commuting from Venice.
It's a pretty good explosion.
Everyone is at the beach, so this bus is empty, and I guess we're just mourning one lone bus driver who was nice to Keanu, but it doesn't feel like a tragedy yet. It sets up the idea that there are bombs, or at least another bomb on a bus, and when the payphone rings, that makes me laugh. Yeah.
Yes.
Dennis Hopper is going to say how Keanu can get to it and how to stop it.
Yeah, it did throw me for a loop because later on we're going to cut to a news report, and the news report's going to talk about one lady who's going to die on the bus, and then it talks about a dead bus driver. Well, I'm like, did the bus driver die? He gets shot and taken off the bus. No, they're talking about this bus driver from the very beginning.
Yeah.
When they talk about the bus driver who dies, and I had to rewind the film because I completely forgot about this bus driver being the thing that got Jack's attention. And, you know, Howard said on this phone call, he planned that elevator job for 2 years. I want to know how much time has passed between the elevator job and now, because it must take a hell of a lot of planning to find out Jack's friends with this bus driver. Jack gets his coffee at this shop, so this is the bus I need to explode, and this is the payphone I need to call after I blow up that bus so that Jack will answer. This is some intricate planning.
Yeah, no, don't ask questions. Like, that's going to hurt this. Like, is this bus worth like the $3.7 million he's asking for? Like, what's so special about those hostages? Like, would the city pay for just any like 8 people on a bus? Maybe, who knows? It's LA. We just throw money away out here. But yeah, like, don't go for logic. That is not this film's strong point.
And yet, I would say that that was a big disappointment for me in 1994, because I heard, it was a great movie, such a great movie, such a great movie, and then stupidity after stupidity after stupidity. This is not a great script. This is not a great story. I refute that. Now and then, don't come to Speed because it's a tightly woven, smart thriller. It's stupid.
Oh boy, I can't wait to talk to you next week, because the writer was pissed he wasn't invited back for Speed 2, and then he laughed because he was glad he wasn't invited back. But if you're groaning about this, I cannot wait for next week, because I've seen Speed 2, and it makes this look like Shakespeare.
We'll talk about Speed 2 in its proper moment, but give me this, Arnie. This is a stupid movie.
Oh yeah, this is dumb fun.
Yes, I hear you don't want to throw it under the bus, pun intended, but it really should be, even if you enjoy it, if you believe in such a thing, it is a guilty pleasure. This is not going to reward you for analyzing it at the way that we are. I think that can be very confusing and disappointing if you were told it was a great movie. It's not great even in the way that, like, Die Hard is a great action. It's very painfully stupid turn after turn.
And yet I would say this is a great action movie because it's about the stunts. Like, if you're going to talk about its greatness, it's talking about the adrenalized, heart-pumping stunts that are going to be going on throughout the film.
Yeah, I agree, Jacob. I mean, let's not discount the fact that, yes, maybe only Bob the bus driver dies when that bus explodes, but like Jacob said, it's a hell of a great explosion. And computer CGI movie was in its infancy. I'm not going to say there's no CGI in this film, because there is a little, but by and large, what you're going to see is practical stunts, practical explosions, and that gives this film a visceral feel that I think, yeah, maybe the script isn't tight, maybe the characters aren't deep, but I don't think that precludes a film from falling into the great category if it is executed so well at a technical level and succeeds in giving you that rush.
So you're calling this movie great?
Yes.
It's qualified. I think we set the parameters that a great action film, yes.
Yes.
Because this is doing what an action film should do.
Okay, I disagree with that. A great action movie engages all the senses.
That's a great movie to me.
But with a great velocity, you aren't bored. I guess that's what I would say. I'm not bored watching this movie.
How can you be? I mean, we had maybe 8 minutes between the elevator scene and the bus blowing up. And once that bus blows up, this thing, pedal to the metal, Keanu is chasing after that bus 2525 because Howard wants Keanu on that bus. He's like, this is the bus it is, and once it hits 50, if it goes back below 50, it blows up. And what a conceit for a movie, too, you know? Everything after Die Hard was Die Hard on a blank, and this was called Die Hard on a bus. But how do you make Die Hard on a bus? Well, you make it so the bus can't stop. I think it's just a good conceit. Now, the writer, who Stuart may not respect, but he actually gave Kurosawa the credit for this concept. Apparently, Kurosawa wrote a film, not directed it, called Runaway Train, starring Jon Voight.
Yeah, we talked about it. Eric Roberts, yeah.
Yeah, that was where he got this idea.
Yeah, we talked about it in Tango and Cash. It was a prison movie, but yes, ended up on a train. Whatever. It's great that these screenwriters have these aspirations, but Kurosawa wouldn't whip his dick out to piss on this. This is not a Kurosawa movie.
Well, the writer just thought Runaway Train would be better if it had a bomb. So he decided to do his version.
Just, if we're going to deal with Runaway Train is a drama first that has exciting moments. Whereas this is a movie that only has exciting moments and no drama.
Agreed. But what's also great about this concept, like, you got to place it in the right city. And you've talked about what a great display of Los Angeles this film is. I agree. But, like, yeah, you got to put it like in an LA or New York, where it is hard to go 50 miles an hour. Like, the fact that they are able to maintain above 50 for so long before they even take the 105, that empty freeway, like, is a miracle.
Yeah. And again, so much of people's experience is being in traffic, being on the road. If you're going to tell an LA story, there's no ignoring that fact that we spend so much time, trying to navigate all these different congested neighborhoods is a truth about it. And Jack is, he's in Venice. He's been given the bus number, 2525, but for some reason he can't tell anybody else, or I heard something about he can't call it in. He feels he is the only one that can go and get that bus, and we want him to because it wouldn't be fun to have some other cop take this gig away from him.
Yeah, I think he's trying to stop the bus before it gets going because then theoretically the bomb can't be activated. That seems like part of his mission.
But my point is, like, if he could just radio and say, hey, whoever's nearest to 2525, stop them. I mean, we want him to be the one to race to the bus from wherever he is, which is far away, instead of the idea that it's a communal effort. If you see a movie like Taking a Pelham 123, there's a lot of cops that are going to be coordinated to try and stop a similar kind of commuter train terrorist operation.
He eventually calls it into the other cops, like they're going to assist. So that wasn't against the rules, but I guess he couldn't call the bus depot to stop it.
It's a mano a mano. It's a chess game. Brains versus brawn.
Checkers, maybe.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
That's what I'm laughing about. Yeah, this is not great chess. This is beginner chess, if it's chess at all.
But you talk about LA traffic. I remember one of my first trips to LA. I don't think I ever got up to 50 miles an hour on the freeway. I was in a limo ride and it was very slow going. It took me like an hour to get from the airport to a building not far away from the airport. But Jack is going to be in his SUV chasing after this bus, gets out on foot, and the bus driver rightfully thinks he's a nut job because he doesn't pull out his badge first. He pulls out his badge only as the bus is pulling away.
He's like yelling, I have a gun or something. Like, pull out the badge. Like, forget about pulling it. That's going to scare people.
What's the double standard here? In the previous scene, and I think I know, Sandra Bullock runs up. She's saying, thanks for stopping and opening the door, even though this is not a actual bus stop. But a cop comes running up and screaming, and this guy is like driving away as fast as he can. I guess you have to be cute to get on the bus.
I don't know. Like, this is a very chatty bus driver as well. Like, do not talk to the bus driver. They do not want to talk to you, in fact.
And Annie is very adorable. We haven't called it out yet, but this is a two-person movie. It's not just Keanu here. He is partnered with Sandra Bullock in her breakout role. Sure, I'm sure she was in Demolition Man being cute, but this is the movie role where people really took notice and she became a star. And you get it.
Yeah, this would be her highest grossing film for like 2 decades. So nothing she'd do would measure up to Speed until she did Gravity. So this is the movie she was most known for, and she is really fun in this role. You could see her as a star. She captivates the screen. She lights it up. She has charisma, her delivery, she has fun. Keanu is very serious in this film, and Sandra Bullock is there to balance it out with a nice lightness.
Yeah, I said when we did Bird Box, like, I've soured on Sandra Bullock, and then that film surprised me. I'm like, oh, she's got some grit in this, and she's, like, tough, and not just trying to do that, dramatic sweetheart whatever thing that she's been known to do. And yeah, watching this, coming back to it, like, I'm smitten by her. Like, yeah, she's got a presence, she's got a bit of brass to her, a bit of a mouth to her. Like, I really liked her in this film, not just because she's good looking, but I think this is a good, like, female companion to have for Keanu in Speed.
She's as vacuous as Keanu. I mean, I wanted to say both of them are very superficial. You like her because she is cute and because, we'll find out that she lost her license. The reason why she's on this bus is that she has a speeding problem and that the DMV just took away her ability to drive. This is the irony that she will be the one behind the wheel when our bus driver is taken out.
Yeah, the bus driver's name is Sam, so we have bus driver Bob and bus driver Sam, these salt of the earth names.
Keanu's first got to get on the bus, and so I guess that means flagging down Toon Man Maurice. Before he had a problem with pussy in Showgirls the next year, this character actor is going to be the one to watch his sports car ruined so that Keanu can get a running start onto the bus.
Oh, that's that guy from Showgirls? I know exactly who you're talking about with having the problem with pussy.
Oh, yes, you do. If you've seen Showgirls, you remember that monologue. It's awesome.
But yeah, he's got a Jaguar here with the license plate Toon Man, and that Jag is going to get screwed up because even though it's a convertible, Jack is going to rip the door off in, again, a really good stunt. Getting in front of the bus, opening the door, slamming on the brakes so the bus rips the door off its hinges, and then jumping onto the bus, a stunt Keanu did himself. Keanu, the reason he was enticed to do this film is Jan De Bont teased he could do some of the stunts himself.
He could put his life in danger.
Keanu didn't really want to do an action film, and Jan De Bont said, you'll have fun doing it. And so Keanu actually did this leap from car to bus. And again, just a visceral moment. When those feet get dragged, knowing it's actually Keanu, I wince.
Okay, I'm never into this movie the way you guys are describing. I think that this movie is an entertaining lark. I think it takes you along for a ride that doesn't stop. I'm having a hard time taking it seriously.
I'm not taking it seriously.
Well, you're talking about being intense and being into this film. In order for me to invest on that level, to care to that degree, to bite my nails that something could happen, I would have to believe in these cardboard characters. And I don't. I mean, this is silly stuff. This is how he's going to get on the bus. But sure, break the car door off and leap on. It's funny, made even more so because when he's there explaining that he's LAPD, the first reaction of the only brown man on the bus is to pull a gun and assume that they're there for him.
Oh, there's Ortiz, who's a construction worker. He's also dark-skinned.
Yeah, you get my point, though. This movie is going to tread heavy in stereotypes.
You want Alan Ruck to pull that gun out?
I was surprised that Cameron, I guess when he ruined Dad's sports car, he had to commute from now on.
He'll show up in Twister, too. I mean, Alan Ruck, I guess Jan De Bont liked him in here. I like him in here. I think he adds a good presence. We've already seen him as the annoying tourist who made Annie switch seats on the bus because he was too chatty. And yeah, but we got this other guy. His name is Ray, who thinks Keanu's there for him, pulls a gun, and in the struggle, poor Sam gets shot in the shoulder.
Yeah, you need some reason why. My memory of this movie was that Sandra Bullock was the bus driver. And I remember laughing that, give me a break. And I think that's because later she's actually going to play a CTA worker in While You Were Sleeping. We're expected to believe that Sandra Bullock works for public transportation. Never would have happened in that film. But here, yes, it's an opportunity. Again, a wish fulfillment fantasy even. You lost your license, you're lonely, you want a boyfriend. All of that is going to come true for her. It's her first romantic comedy. She's taken the wheel.
Well, Demolition Man might be her first romantic comedy, but we'll discuss it someday. It's in the book.
She's got a sex scene with Sly in there, yeah.
Okay, again, I don't know that I even saw that movie. I might have seen part of it on cable, so difficult for me to evaluate.
And she had done a film called Love Potion No. 9 that I did look up after seeing Speed, and is not bad.
Okay, great. I'll file that away for never.
She is willing to step up when Sam gets shot, and it takes, you talk about dumb characters, it really does take a level of stupidity to think, I could just drive a bus. Sure, I've never done it before, but let me grab that wheel.
And I want to say, you talk about intensity, and I think some of the stunts are, just, the physical acrobatics that go into it. But I do feel like part of the charm of this movie is nobody really gets that worked up. She seems to be having fun for the most part. It's banter that she's having with a potential boyfriend as they're trying to navigate all of this stuff. You never actually feel the terror of a woman who doesn't know where to go or how to drive.
No, that's why I said I felt like she has a bit of brass. It almost feels like a screwball comedy at times. It does not matter that there's a bomb on this bus. They're just having some fun banter.
Arnie talked about tone, and it's really important that the tone that they land on, and part of it why this movie is stupid is because it is a comedy. I do believe that this movie works as a screwball, some semi-relationship. You may care about the relationship or not, but I do think that you have to buy into this as silly fun. I don't think you can buy into it as a tense, even Die Hard kind of action thriller. Terrorism.
No, I agree.
That's not it. That tone, if they had gotten John McTiernan, he would have fucked it up because he would have made it too serious.
Yeah, I have a smile on my face for the majority of this film. Sandra Bullock, I already thought she was funny from Demolition Man. I think she does comedy well here. And she gets to play off Keanu as straight man. And, you know, the action, the fact that the bus just has to keep going gives a lot of setups for vehicular carnage. You know, you've got to smash through stuff. You've got to take crazy turns, and you're gonna hit other cars, hit trucks, and all of this stuff just to keep the bus going above 50.
I also want to point out something that, you know, I'm not giving this movie a lot of credits for brains or, you know, real world application, but it did happen to get something right that it would have no idea about, but that would be happening at the same time that this opened theatrically.
OJ.
7 days after Speed hits theaters, we have a white Bronco chase on some of these freeways.
Yeah, I did watch that.
I do think that might have helped people get excited about this movie in the way that it anticipated the media, helicopters, following this one vehicle, how this becomes a story that unifies the city. Without OJ, you might think that that's, you know, maybe a little bit far-fetched. After OJ, it feels like, wow, they really captured lightning in a bottle.
And that's how Howard is keeping up with all of this, is watching it on the news. We won't find out until much, much later in the film he also snuck a camera on board that bus, because he's never looking at that one. He's always looking at the news reports, seeing where the bus goes. Jack stole Toon Man's cell phone, and so now Howard can call and taunt Jack.
So, yeah, you call him Howard. I called him Payne by the last name because it felt like the kind of tag name that you would have an evil character. Payne is going to cause you pain. Dennis Hopper, though, he is watching a football game sometimes. Is there some explanation? First of all, what kind of sports game is going on during commuter times, like during the week? I don't watch football, but it seems like you wouldn't program that against rush hour traffic.
No, there's no Monday afternoon football.
Yeah. And two, why isn't this enough for him? Why must he also be watching sports betting? Does he have money on the game?
He's enjoying retirement, Stuart.
Okay, you're right. I guess that's what I'd be doing too.
You know, he's older, he's retired. Maybe he recorded Sunday football so he could go to bed and watch it on Monday morning.
He's one of those people that watches all the games. He's just catching up from the weekend.
Okay. Well, yes. And he's got lots of games to play here, starting with the fact that, yes, they've hit the 50 mile per hour mark. There was a time there they played a game, and I like the idea that we're creeping up on the odometer, 48, 49. Oh, they're slowing down. But now that they've passed, they cannot stop. They are in this until they deactivate the bomb. Keanu pokes down there. It's a real bomb. It's really going to go off. It's got a cheesy watch as a timer, but that's a clue. And he's got to figure out how to get them to a place where they can deactivate that. And that means getting off these crowded freeways and getting to the 105.
The 105, again, a freeway that took like 40 years to build. They eminent domained everyone out of there. My wife lost a friend because she lived in one of those homes. They're like, sorry, you need to move. Like, there's movies that Suburbia, which is in the book, like takes place in abandoned homes around the 105 area, like notorious freeway. So many people hated this thing being built, but like, yeah, it was empty at the time they were filming this. They did not have to shut anything down except construction, I guess.
Yeah, but what makes that impressive is all of the cars around them are studio cars. And so they drive a mile filming, then have to back up like 30 vehicles a mile and then do it again.
That is the other thing. It's only about an 18-mile stretch. So again, my memory was until we got to the subway and I remembered it that like this whole thing was just a bus. I'm like, that's only like a 20-minute ride now. Like, you need more freeway. They're going to run out. I knew there was a jump coming, but yeah, they're going to get off this freeway eventually. They don't pull a Fast and Furious with the longest runway ever.
But I mean, even just getting there, I'm reminded of Batman 66. This is where I'm feeling like about the tone. Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. They run in one direction and school children are crossing the street. Go in another one. You gotta laugh when the baby carriage is coming across the street.
You gotta do the baby carriage thing.
I mean, oh my God, the baby carriage. But they hit it.
Just crazy homeless woman, true to LA.
Yeah. The gimmick is normally you would just have like, oh, baby is fine. No, they hit that baby carriage, but she's just collecting aluminum cans. That was a nice twist on cliche.
Sandra Bullock actually giving a brief moment of dramatic acting where she has to act like she just killed a baby. She thinks she killed a baby because she's driving the bus that hit that baby carriage. This 1920s hood up baby carriage. I've never seen anyone with all black, but it's, stolen or taken from someplace because it is full of just aluminum cans. And that woman is pissed her aluminum cans are all over the street.
You do not mess with homeless people's recyclables.
Yeah, that's money out of her pocket, for sure. But this is also where romantic chemistry is happening. This is the tricky thing for Jan De Bont and our leads is that, in any action movie like this, you would have slow moments where they could have talky scenes and be in love.
Get to know each other.
But if you're telling me they're always going to have to be on the move, then you actually have to make her swerving, hitting her head, and him wiping the blood off her forehead as some kind of meet cute.
She has a serious concussion. I'm worried about her at this point. But I agree with you, Stuart. I'm like, is this supposed to be like the romantic moment? Because, you're not going to have like some backstory that they fall in love over, anything like that. It is like, let me wipe your forehead. It's bleeding all over.
It's ridiculous that they feel pressured to insert a romantic subplot into this film. I've said it on how many podcasts that in Hollywood movies, because there's a man and there's a woman on screen, they just must fall in love because that is what the movies tell us. And so they're doing that here. But I do think they play well off each other every time they're going to have a romantic moment. And when they start talking about their relationship later on, I'm rolling my eyes. That is stupid that I can't forgive.
It is stupid, and yet I see the logic of it. And follow me on this. Take Sandra Bullock off the bus. Why do we care whether these passengers live or die?
That's what I said.
Who else here do you really, really would get invested about? Keanu falling for this cute girl who's got some sass and is contributing to their escape ride to freedom. That allows us to see all of these passengers as, a unified thing we care about. A damsel in distress without her embodying that. Or even, as you say, if it were Ellen DeGeneres and she had come out of the closet and they're not going to play up romantic chemistry, I don't know, you'd still like her because she's funny. And I think that that's why we like Sandra Bullock here too. It's not because we believe that their love will last. Indeed, when she talks about how intense situations are bad predictors for long-term relationships, sure, I wouldn't give this couple 5 years, but I definitely think that without her in this movie, you would not care as much what happens to this bus.
I'll agree. Everybody else on this bus is really underdeveloped. I would think this would be a place where you could have an ensemble of characters. I mean, you think about the disaster movies of the 70s, where you'd have a whole bunch of people in danger and each one of them would matter and each one of them would be an actor you know. Here you have Alan Ruck, who he worked, but I hadn't seen him since Ferris Bueller, and here he is making some pretty Cameron constipated faces. And you've got one old lady on the bus whose Helen is very scared to be there.
I don't even know where you get these names from.
Yeah. And you call her old lady. She's probably like 38, but okay.
She has gray hair.
I mean, all right. So do I.
And I mean, you could have played this up. Some of these people don't ever have lines that are on the bus. It's a small group. You could have really gone there. But yes, this is a very paper thin movie. And our entire care is, does Annie make it off the bus alive? When Helen's going to bite it, I don't think anyone sheds a tear.
No, again, it just shows the games of Dennis Hopper. That, it seemed like she could have gotten off. Like, yes, there are choppers flying around, photographing from high above, but would anyone notice this woman? Period. Would you even notice her? They're allowing Sam to be transferred to a police vehicle riding alongside them. If another woman just happened to hop on there, I doubt that the Mad Bomber would have noticed or that the media would have captured that moment. They could have gotten away with sneaking somebody off.
Don't forget he has a camera, though, that shows him the cabin.
That has not been revealed yet. That is where I'm leading, Arnie, is that this is the indication that he knows more than he should, and he's rigged the stairs to the bus to explode. He's got mini bombs there, on top of the bomb that will take out the bus if it should slow down. There's one on the stairs that blows underneath her feet and she rolls right underneath the wheel. And so again, Helen's death is not meant to bring tears of empathy. It's to remind us that there is a madman who has lots of different games and calculations, and that this thing has to keep interesting, right? It would be kind of boring going to just, now that we're on a freeway, just keep driving around. All right, well, we could do this for a while and it doesn't quicken the pulse anymore. The formula could easily fall flat when we're hitting this almost like the 1 hour mark, but they keep finding ways to invent tension. The next one is, and I suppose this is true, it was still under construction. This road is not done. There is a 50-foot gap.
And I feel like you gotta do this. You shouldn't do it though, but you gotta do it. But I'm never gonna believe it at the same time. Like, I'm so conflicted about, like, this is the real silly moment to me. But again, you kind of gotta do it.
Yeah, I do not tell silly moments to leave this picture. I feel like this movie is silly moments. I don't think that this movie can be asked to grow up and take this premise seriously. The sillier it is. You talk about disaster movies of the 70s, Arnie. Those are really fun comedies to me too. Towering Inferno, Poseidon Adventure, the airport movies. This feels more like that than it ever does Die Hard. So be silly, yes. Floor it and watch the bus go sailing across the big gap and land on the other side, and they keep rolling at 50 miles an hour.
Yeah, they're very proud of that stunt. There is a lot of bonus footage about this stunt. And in the end, it looks pretty good. And the fact that the wheels don't fly off the bus when it lands, I'm having a good enough time with this movie that I'll give it to it. But, I mean, if you've seen the movie Road Trip where they jump that small creek and then the car basically explodes, that is far more likely to be what happens if you take a jump of any distance other than the bus keeps going at 50.
So does that take you out of the movie? Like, are you literally like, oh, that wouldn't happen?
No, I know it wouldn't happen, but I did have to make sure. I'm like, I'm sure Mythbusters has tested this. They had, and it did not go 50 feet. And then I saw the behind the scenes footage of them filming this stunt that they were very proud of. And that bus went not very far at all, like barely got off the ground and like totally collapsed when it landed. But again, like, you hear how conflicted I am, Stuart. Like, yeah, it's a silly moment. I know it's stupid, but also like, this is what you do in this movie.
Yeah, right. I mean, this movie is silly and stupid. I mean, again, when is it not being that? I don't see this as a betrayal of tone.
I guess the difference for me is like all the other stunts I find adrenalized. Like, I'm like, yes, those are plausible. There is someone, maybe it's Keanu, maybe it's not, jumping onto a bus. But like this, I know that bus ain't flying through the air.
Okay. It is a real bus. Just to understand this, you're telling me they really did send a bus across some kind of chasm, right?
No, they didn't.
They sent it off a ramp.
Yeah, and then I mentioned CGI was in its infancy. This gap in the road is computer generated.
Ah, okay. All right. Well, good on them. They fooled me.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it, and they extended the distance that the bus jumped and everything, and yeah.
Because it only went like 5 feet.
They used 12 different buses to film this, and several got destroyed by the stunts that they were using. But yeah, I'm with Jacob. Most of the things, like when the bus is up on 2 wheels, that's really adrenalizing me.
That's awesome, yeah.
When the bus makes this leap, yeah, it takes me out of it. The first time I saw it in theaters, I'm like, wait a second. Exactly where was the ramp that this bus jumped off of to get air?
It launches into the air, yeah. It is not jumping off a flat piece of asphalt.
Yeah, this is a Dukes of Hazzard moment that did pull me out of the film the first time I saw it.
Okay.
There's just a line, and that line is suspension of disbelief, and as long as I'm smiling, I'm going to give this film a hell of a lot of leeway. And it doesn't hurt this movie that bad. It just is one of the many stunts that I don't get adrenalized by, but that's okay. There's going to be another stunt in 5 minutes. I mean, this thing is disaster after disaster after disaster, and again, the name Speed is so appropriate for this because it is constantly moving from emergency to emergency. There's never a talky dialogue scene.
This comes the closest. They take a timeout. That Keanu decides to leave the bus to try and strategize, and Hopper allows this. He's like, okay, you don't count. Nobody else can leave, but you can leave, try and figure out. And the thinking is, they get to LAX. They're on a tarmac. They can literally just drive in circles, seemingly for hours. And so with that being an airspace that the helicopters can't fly over, nobody should be seeing what's going on. It is only because Keanu has a gut feeling that they don't move the passengers off at that time. And had they, yes, we will find out there's cameras on board, that would have given Hopper grounds to blow them all to bits.
And we'll find out there was a news crew just outside the fence, too. It may be a no-fly zone, but there was somebody filming from the fence there. The live news coverage hadn't stopped. But yeah, our Dennis Hopper character knows more than he should know, which is a clue that there's something else amiss. But we get another good stunt. Like you say, Jack got off there, but he's going to try to disarm the bomb. He's got Harry on the line, and he is going to get on this dolly and roll under the bus just with a steel cable to try to disarm the bomb.
I thought this looked really cool. Now, there are tricks of editing where you make this look much more dangerous, but like, did they actually get some kind of stunt person under that bus?
There is a stunt person under a moving bus, and Keanu did do some of these stunts as far as laying down. I mean, you can see his face very clearly on some of the shots.
And that dolly is not stable.
No, he laid down on a dolly and he was let loose on a dolly and under a bus for a little while. Now, this movie takes a lot of liberties with frame rates and sped up footage and things. This bus was often not going 50 miles an hour. It was sometimes going 10 miles an hour.
Of course not.
But the way Jan De Bont moves the camera, and, you know, there's another guy credited as cinematographer, but if you see the behind-the-scenes footage, Jan De Bont literally rips the camera out of this guy's hands and just starts shooting himself and doing everything himself. And the way the camera's moving, the way they play with the frame rate, the bus always looks like it's going damn fast. And I found myself actually holding my breath during this under the bus scene, even though I know how this comes out. I've seen this movie a dozen times, and yet I haven't seen it in 20 years. I just realized I wasn't breathing because this moment had me so into the movie.
That is not my experience of this movie. I think that we're all having fun, but I find this a silly comedy. I'm laughing a lot at the absurdities, you know, like the rewarding of doing the cliches, the spin on the cliches, and then just, yeah, the bravura stunts of it all. It makes you giddy, but like intense. I can't take it. This is so amazing. Never feel that way. I couldn't care enough about this movie to feel that way.
And I get what you're saying, Stuart, because yes, I think I do get a giddy excitement with these kind of silly action films where it's great stunts, it's like silly characters, probably a really silly plot and all that, but there's still something exciting. But I do have those moments of like real thrills, like in that moment where Jack has to like jump off that dolly and stab that gas tank with a screwdriver to get off of there. I'm like, oh, that was a really cool moment.
Does Annie not see the speed bumps? Is that the problem? Like, she did that to him. Like, they have a moment.
It's the tires.
Yeah, she ran over one of those spike strips when she broke onto the bus, puncturing the tire, and the tire lost its tread when that happened. She didn't hit a bump.
Yeah, I get that, but like, that didn't seem to have any repercussion.
I feel like cops should have been clearing that off. They had time to remove that while they were circling.
I don't know. Yeah, whatever. Again, don't ask the wise. But yes, for whatever reason, it doesn't go as planned. He was supposed to go under there, disarm the bomb, and in fact, he ends up, yes, puncturing the gas tank, and now they're leaking gas, and they have about 10 minutes until they run out of fuel and won't be able to go 50 miles per hour.
And when he was under there, you mentioned that cheap watch, and Harry, because he was shot in the leg, Jeff Daniels, has spent all this time just back at the station. What, he spent maybe a week on set? Maybe if that, Jeff Daniels, he didn't work a whole lot, but he's been trying to investigate who this mad bomber is. They saw his face, and he figured out he's a cop. They finally realize who he is, and shot leg or no shot leg, Harry's going to lead the team to raid Howard's house.
Now, it's interesting to me that you say that in some incarnation earlier, the one not shot, that the idea was that at some point the partner, Jeff Daniels, is the bomber. And it is interesting to think if, like, yeah, Dennis Hopper actually did die on the parking lot, and then this guy used that as a cover, pretending to be the return of the bomber when he just had his own agenda. Was that what they were going for?
Yeah, it was a different bomber at the beginning, and then it was Jeff Daniels for the rest of the film, or the Harry character, whoever would have been cast.
He was really mad about getting shot in the leg.
Yeah, doing it that way creates a mystery. It would be some kind of mental game trying to figure it out. The problem is Dennis Hopper is so taunting to Keanu Reeves. If you don't have that exchange, then I don't know. If we don't hear the bomber, if we don't see the bomber, if we don't have Dennis Hopper turning it up to 11, I'm not sure that this movie would be as adrenalized.
No, it wouldn't. This movie is made, honestly, by Dennis Hopper. in my mind. Sandra Bullock is great as a hostage, and I like that she has stuff to do beyond being a hostage. The fact that she's literally behind the wheel gives her agency in this film. I like Sandra Bullock. Keanu's doing great stunts, and he is a perfect straight man. But Dennis Hopper is what gives this film the extra oomph it needs with his pop quiz, his phone calls, his line delivery. Everything he's doing elevates this movie higher than it would be if it had been somebody else in that role. Like, they actually talked about Randy Quaid.
Oh, wow. Not good. But I think Stuart said at the beginning, you remember pop quiz hotshot because Dennis Hopper says it, not because Jeff Daniels says it at the beginning. Yeah, you're right. It is Hopper that he's the flavor of this film. Like, I think Keanu, like, I enjoy all the stunts he's doing. He's pretty bland though. And Sandra Bullock's nice. Like, she's got a little bit of character to her, but like, yeah, the big villain here is Dennis Hopper, and he's playing it appropriately, nice and broad. And you say there's no surprises here, Stuart. I agree, because I've seen Silence of the Lambs. I know Dennis Hopper's got cameras everywhere. I know this ain't gonna work when they try to swat him.
Yes, he will kill Jeff Daniels. And Daniels, we got a moment where Jeff Daniels even knows that he's dead. You know, like, they know how to film that scene. Run in, he's going to be here somewhere. Nope, the red light clicks on behind whatever's on the wall, and boom.
And Jeff Daniels gives such a good facial expression right before he dies. He has this lip twitch thing. It is really a good moment. It is better than this film deserves for a death scene for a character that will not be mourned.
Yeah, does it mean that he's out of the picture? What I hear, and what Keanu tries to give us, is that there goes the brains. This was the guy with all the know-how, the one that knew how to dismantle any kind of bomb, the one that was steady at the wheel, and yet we didn't see that in the introductory scene. We saw someone that says, let's just rush in and save him and not follow orders, and he doesn't need this guy. It doesn't feel like Keanu will lose now, but I think we're supposed to have that impression.
I mean, Keanu all of a sudden is a detective now. Perhaps Jeff Daniels' soul went into him because Dennis Hopper keeps calling Annie Wildcat. And apparently this 1994 like tiny spy camera has high enough quality to see this little University of Arizona logo on her sweatshirt that she's sitting on that's behind her on the bus driver's seat.
Is that her jacket?
Yeah, that's her jacket.
Yes.
Not the original bus driver's jacket.
No,
she takes off her jacket pretty early on while driving the bus.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like this is maybe something that you say Joss Whedon rewrote or something. Like, this feels like a weird give me. Why that Keanu was able to put this together. Batman 66.
Yes.
Oh, yes, of course, because you have a jacket that represents the Wildcats, and I guess he's called her Wildcat.
Oh, no, I wrote it down every time because I knew that was a big thing.
I didn't notice it. It wasn't a big thing to me. That he puts this together and then immediately finds the camera is more reason to giggle. And now the plan is, well, let's create a loop so that he thinks everyone is looking forward on the bus while we sneak them away on the sidecar.
Yeah, this is just a big gimme for the film. There happens to be a news crew that can find the UHF signal.
Maybe that's how TV worked back then. I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give it.
Well, there were still UHF stations, and I guess maybe that's what this was broadcasting on, but yeah, that you could just record and instantly loop. Okay, I'll go with this. It's fine. It allows people to get off the bus, and hey, everyone can get off except Annie because she's driving. She and Jack are going to have to do something very special and exciting to get off the bus because they're the only ones we care about.
I mean, if you're rigging up a system to put, a stick on the gas pedal, she could have gotten off with everybody else. I mean, they just, again, they make Annie special because she represents our hopes and dreams for survivors. Whereas the other ones, I don't care if the nice old Japanese lady dies or not. Honestly, I don't want her to die. But in a movie like this, in a disaster movie like this, you kind of expect it. I actually thought there would be a higher body count.
Well, she was going to get off with everybody else, but when Alan Ruck was going, the plank broke.
Ah, yes.
And so Alan Ruck almost died. Gigantor Ortiz grabs him and pulls him on. And so now Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves are stranded on the bus. But the plan was they were going to get off with everybody else.
Okay, good catch.
Yeah, and in an action film, you want escalation. With the leads, yes, they got to do the most dangerous thing, and it's a great shot when they sit. There's so much talk about access panels throughout this film with the elevators and with the bus, but they're gonna glide out on that access panel into a field, and it is a great shot.
And just for the sake of reality, no bus has an access panel, because if you opened that up, you'd be staring at a moving drivetrain. So that would not work. But hey, this isn't reality. This is Hollywood.
No. And Keanu, again, I mentioned the surfer connections that he had. And it feels like he's just surfing away with her. And again, sort of consummating, like he's lying on top of her. It feels like after the rush of all of this, they've just had 90-minute sex. And this could be the end of the movie. Like, honestly, it feels in many ways like the climax of the movie.
Yeah, that's where you get that line about relationships that start under intense circumstances never last. It feels like, James Bond always closed with some sexual innuendo in his films, and it feels like that kind of moment. Roll credits, we're done.
Absolutely. This is where the movie ends to me. Everything that comes after this is lesser. The first half hour of the film, good, introductory, let's get there. The next hour of the film, pure adrenaline, constantly going. This last half hour was forced upon the writer. His original ending was that the bus explodes by the Hollywood sign, not on an airport.
How's it going to get up that hill?
I don't know.
It's in the mountains.
I didn't read the first draft script, but once the bus blew up, the film was over, and the writer had to compromise because Paramount, who was going to make this, said, you don't want to spend a movie with 2 hours on a bus. We need to have some variance, so add something else.
Stewart was in the room. He's like, got to get on that subway.
I mean, I kind of agree with that. You need to do something else. If we've spent an hour on the bus isn't the climax.
No, but this could be a good 90, 100-minute film, and maybe give Harry something else to do to help smoke out Howard instead of this next half an hour of laborious movie extension that we're going to get, because this subway stuff doesn't look good, doesn't adrenalize. Once the bus blows up with that airplane,
I mean, that's great.
Yeah, and I love the lengths this movie goes to show us there were no casualties. We're seeing that the airplane is being towed, so the airplane is empty. The bus that blew up had no passengers. It just had the driver. They really tell us, that there's not a huge body count going on in this film. And once that happens, man, I'm happy to catch my breath. I'm happy to have that be the climax of the film. It's the most exciting moment of the film, and yet Speed's going to go on for 30 more minutes.
I will say this, though, yes, this is Speed. I don't want some slow standoff for the ending. We do have to get pain somehow, and it feels appropriate to keep it moving. Get on another vehicle.
Yes, and let's just take a pause ourselves. So he did all of this because when he worked Atlanta Bomb Squad, he blew up one of his fingers and didn't get compensation. He got a watch. That's it.
He's forced into retirement. He got a pension.
Yeah, he had a pension. He just didn't think it was sufficient, so he wants $3.7 million.
It's a weird number to land on.
But he's a disgruntled employee that feels like they should have paid his medical bills. He just wants to be a millionaire.
He feels he's owed the money, is what he says.
Okay, so yes, a thin, stupid reason that doesn't have explanation.
Yeah, like most things in this.
Okay, moving on then. All right, so yes. So he thinks that they are going to actually drop $3.7 million in a bag in Pershing Square garbage can. So convinced of it that he's cut a giant hole underneath it to sneak in there, pop up, grab it, and then run away.
Let's face it, he has gone to the Wile E. Coyote School of Villainy. He's doing things with Acme bombs, and now he's cutting holes underneath garbage cans to get the money.
I mean, Stewart referenced Batman 66 earlier, and I feel like this is a real Batman 66 moment. I did laugh.
It's funny. Again, I just want to reflect the fact that if you came to this thinking great action movie like Die Hard, you'd be like, what the F? This thing is so stupid.
Gritty, serious action drama. No, that is not this.
Yeah, and I think that it was sold that way. Die Hard on a Bus is something I heard all summer long until at the end of summer I went into the theater and saw this and could not understand. But now, again, I think it's funny that suddenly he's done this and they've toted Annie. Yeah, this woman needs hospitalization.
She's just sitting there while they do the stakeout.
But they brought her, to a Pershing Square beauty salon outside, just standing around with no police security. They're all inside strategizing, thinking that this burglar is going to run up and grab a garbage bag. And he grabs Annie, sneaks underneath, and only Keanu realizes they should follow the tracker in the money bag and chase it into the subway.
And I hate that they just turned Annie into a straight damsel in distress now. She had so much to do and was literally in the driver's seat this whole film, and now she's just going to be handcuffed and dragged along because we need to keep her in the film somehow.
She didn't have that much to do, but yes, she steered out of the way of a lot of vehicles, and now she isn't participating in her own survival/rescue. She is wearing a dynamite vest and being dragged onto, yes, what always feels like empty subway cars. Like, I never felt like I only rode the subway occasionally.
No one does.
They finally did build it out to Santa Monica, so I tried to use it towards my end of my time there. But in the end, yeah, it just wasn't something that was practical, I think, for a lot of people.
LA is not New York City, people.
Yeah, and so, yes, not surprising there's not many people to begin with. They hop on there, kill the conductor, and again, Mission Impossible. I feel like wasn't the end of that movie, Tom Cruise on the top of it trying to avoid lights hanging down and fighting the villain. This thing beat Tom to the punch.
And did it for a lot less money.
They didn't have a helicopter here.
I mean, it feels like a Tom Cruise role. It feels like Keanu even kind of looks like Tom Cruise does in that movie. So I just really feel like, yeah, they took notice.
You always accuse De Palma of ripping people off, so here you go. De Palma ripped off De Bont.
Yeah.
That's a first.
Well, I mean, De Palma knowingly makes reference to classic movies, but I do feel like the influence of Speed on all action movies was dominant. Again, look at what they did with such a meager budget. For a fraction of what any other big tentpole action movie was doing, they had the scenes that people were talking about. And yes, it's lesser, but it's some kind of ending, and I think appropriate. If you have an old man always cackling, "You're an idiot, use your head, pop quiz," then he gets decapitated, feels like the right symbolic ending for him.
And Howard killed the subway driver who, blink and you miss him, but that actor is Richard Schiff, who I know from The West Wing. He'd have a pretty major role on West Wing a couple of years later.
I guess I blinked.
I definitely blinked. But yeah, it's not important. The point is, and again, this is such a groaner. Not only is it out of control and they can't hit the brake, but they haven't finished the subway track either. Has construction in LA finished anything?
No, this is such a true LA movie because, yeah, nothing's done. It's all over budget. Yes.
That's hilarious.
Very real.
Yes, I get what they're really doing. Symbolically, you want to end it at the home of movies in front of the Grauman Theater. You know, obviously that's where the thing's going to burst out onto the street.
That's playing 2001: A Space Odyssey?
Yeah, well, Kubrick. There is not a Jan De Bont movie where he does not reference Kubrick.
Oh, okay.
He thinks that, again, when he talks about The Haunting, how that was The Shining, and I mean, yes, his pretensions are ridiculous, but I expect to see a Kubrick reference in any Jan De Bont movie. So yes, they're playing 2001, almost hit a Starlight tour, you know, all the classic things you expect to see when you come to LA. This is where you want to end that movie.
And it is really shocking just to see that subway car explode from the ground. Again, you know, I'm not into this ending. I'm not adrenalized. I'm not having a lot of fun. So I find it just ridiculous that Keanu decides the solution is floor it and that this gets to break out from underground, above ground like that.
I mean, he shoots the hostages. Why not floor it when you're out of space?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he would have shot that conductor even if Dennis Hopper hadn't beat him to it. And can I just also say, I mean, as someone that just got another speeding ticket, going 50 miles an hour isn't that fast, right? I mean, the fact that this train is out of control at 70?
It depends where you're driving.
At 70 miles an hour, I'm like, psh. Sunday drive. But I did not remember. You know, it was a thing. In the 90s, you always want to push a soundtrack. Billy Idol? Give me Speed?
Speed. That's what I need.
Please Don't Bleed? Really? It did not chart anywhere in this world, but he tried.
No, I did not remember Billy Idol being part of this movie at all. And I am listening to this end song and I'm like, this sounds like Billy Idol.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't believe that it actually was. This was post Cyberpunk. If you remember his Electronica album.
Well, yes, it's the end of his career, is what you're saying. Yes, this is catching him right when we realize we're done with you, Billy. Thank you. Goodbye. He's talking Speed and we're saying stop.
I actually liked Shock to the System off of Cyberpunk a lot, but I do not like the Speed song at all.
Well, damn. You didn't get the soundtrack for this? Oh, that is damning.
I didn't get the soundtrack, but I got the score.
Mm.
So pop quiz, hot shots. Do you recommend Speed? Jacob.
Yeah, it's funny because I heard like, oh, this is just Die Hard on a bus. But Speed, even though I only saw it once, like it became its own thing to me. I remember seeing the trailers for Crank and thinking, how dumb is that movie? It's about a dude who has to keep his adrenaline levels to a certain amount. I'm like, it's just Speed, but a dude's body. It's not even a bus. Like, how lazy is that? Spoiler, pretty good movie, guys. Check it out. Really like it. It's silly.
You put the sequel in our book.
I did. I like that sequel too. Like a great little duo of films there. My point is, there is something to this silly concept of like, yeah, just drive fast. You know, Sonic hasn't been able to make a good movie about just needing to go fast, but Speed somehow did that. And I really wanted to understand that as I was watching this, because I thought I was going to probably be more like you, Stuart, where like, oh, this is silly fun. But no, I think this is a great action film. And it is because of those stunts. There's something about hitting those fundamentals. They got that little earworm tagline they're going to say about pop quiz hot shot, like that gets in you, that score gets into your head. It's a stupid high concept that's just silly enough to make it memorable, even though I saw this once 30 years ago. Maybe that subway wasn't so memorable to your point, Arnie, that part you didn't like in this, because I had forgotten about that till we got to that moment. But yeah, I think this is a well-constructed, it gets those basics down well, and those are so important to make a silly film about a bus driving through LA exciting. Like, I don't think Keanu's so great because he has so much charisma that you're like just taken with all of his words, and I don't think this romance is so great that you're like just won over by it, but it's all just like good enough to make me excited to see a bus jump over that gap, and yeah, to see a subway crash through onto the street. Like, it's just a fun film because it gets the basics right, it provides exciting action, and yeah, it's not a masterpiece, but it's a great time. Recommend, strong recommend.
Stuart.
Yeah, and I think when you say great action movie, I'm thinking masterpiece, and I'm thinking about how other directors could make this as such. Take Alfred Hitchcock. He made a movie called Lifeboat. Guess what? It's all set in a lifeboat. And how he made that interesting was he made all the characters, sort of boil them down, and they all represent key players in World War II. So you really understand the war just by watching what's going on in this little boat, in a microcosm. They could have done that. They could have reduced LA. It could have been shortcuts on a bus. There's so many directors that would have and maybe should have been drawn to the ways to make this a more exciting story. But Jan De Bont is a cinematographer, and what he has constructed is a theme park ride extolling the virtues of velocity. This movie is called Speed, so that's what he does. He speeds, and he speeds, and he speeds. And the truth is, there's not much interesting here, but it's never boring either. That's sort of the strange feeling of watching this movie is I have almost nothing to reflect on, and yet I can feel the rush. I can recognize the talent that it takes to take these limitations in budget and the claustrophobic setting and think about these limited actors, quite frankly. Keanu Reeves, not one of our best, and he's able to turn this really into a feat of entertainment. I do feel that. And I'm not an action guy. You tell me that this movie is based on being exciting and adrenalizing, I'll always want more. That won't ever be one of my favorite movies, a movie that's really exciting and goes really, really fast. That's just an engine without a story to drive it. But I grew up loving disaster movies of the 70s. And again, to me, this is not Die Hard on a bus. This is Airport with the wings clipped off. This is like watching one of those stupid movies where, again, like you can't believe that all these cast members came together. I mean, Towering Inferno and Airport are nominated for Best Picture. I ask you to go watch them. They are terrible, just like blatantly stupid films that are a whole lot of fun to watch. And so that's my advocacy for this film. It is not any kind of masterpiece. It will not stick with you, but it's a good time. It's a good laugh. I do think that it plays with cliche in a way that feels very warm and comforting, and I will recommend Speed.
3 for 3 on recommends, and mine, like Jacob's, is a strong recommend because this movie does one thing and does it well. It is gonzo action porn. It's not going to spend a lot of time with talky scenes and character development. It's going to take you from explosion to explosion and set piece to set piece. And in an average action film, you might have 3 set pieces or 4 set pieces. And this is wall-to-wall set piece after set piece. I can't believe how much they do in this film, especially when I found out the budget after watching this, because I've seen $200 million movies that don't do as much as Speed does or as well as Speed does it. Jan De Bont may not be a great actor's director. This will be proven out in the next couple of films, I guess. I don't know how well he can give his characters motivation and how well he can get his actors to give a performance. But he can rip that camera out of the cameraman's hands and make a film that is visceral. And yeah, watching this at home, I'm going to steal a line from Nicole Kidman. This thing has sound I can feel coming out of my subwoofers, you know? I just enjoy the ride that is Speed. Stuart, you bemoaned ever riding a bus. I never thought riding a bus could be as fun as Jan De Bont makes it here. I really enjoyed this film. I saw it so much when it hit video originally and when it was on HBO doing those rounds like a year after it was released. I hadn't seen it in a long time. I forgot how much I really liked it until coming back to it now. It's a really strong recommend, and it's a spoiler-proof movie. Go see Speed if you haven't. It's a fun time.
Okay, so just processing what I'm hearing, I heard that it's a really fun ride. Would you call it a good movie? Like, don't you wish secretly, as much fun as you had, that it had characters that you would want to see in a sequel? That you would actually, like, find interesting to return to the people as they, I guess, move from bus to boat?
I don't know if I want to go on a boat, but I was invested enough. Like, I wish Keanu was coming back. I want to see where these characters go.
Yeah, I agree. The fact that we don't have Keanu next week is a warning sign to me. I like these actors in these circumstances. A boat, red alert 1. No Keanu, red flag number 2.
Come on.
I mean, this movie did very well for him. You'd think, especially after the couple movies like Johnny Mnemonic, he'd want to come back.
Yeah.
But to your root question, sure, I wish there were characters of depth like there are in Die Hard. This movie is not Die Hard. To me, Die Hard is a close to perfect movie. This is just a really good action movie.
Yeah.
You know, it does exactly what it promises very well, but it is not more than that. So sure, I wish this was a perfect film. I wish every movie was a perfect film. But you know what? I wish all action films could deliver the adrenaline of this more than I wish all action films could develop characters better.
I think that's the difference between you and I.
Yeah, if you're going to just be a genre B-picture action film, like, just be as good as Speed. That's all I want.
Yeah, you put a very high premium on, like, goosebumps and feeling like wind in your hair. I guess I want Dennis Hopper. I want the brains. Use your head. I want something that had a twisty storyline to replicate.
Look, I will never go to a Jason Statham film with expectations of that. I'm going in hoping, like, are there good action scenes? Like, I know what a genre picture is, and I just wanted to meet those expectations.
And you know what? I'm not a drug addict, but if I were, all I'd want is the contact high. And sometimes I just want a movie to give me that contact high, and Speed succeeds. I guess I'm hooked on Speed.
Well, let's see if that Speed 2 can keep giving you that main line. In the meantime, another movie that looks like it's built entirely on adrenaline thrills. We're covering this Friday for donors. Well, they say it's a quiet place, but you know and I know when aliens come to New York, it's going to be a real loud, raucous time.
It's day one. They don't know to be quiet yet.
Yes, we're going to learn how they figure out to be silent. It's, I don't know, like Predator, where Arnold has to learn to cover himself in mud. So that will be up for our donors this Friday. And if you donated when we did A Quiet Place or Bird Box in the past, you will be getting that review added as well. So thank you for your support of Now Playing. It's you guys who keep fuel in our engine and allow us to keep podcasting at more than 50 miles an hour, because God knows what would happen if we stopped. We've not missed a week since 2011, having a new podcast out every single week, and it's because of donors.
I think you'd explode.
Yeah, if we slow down, this thing could just blow up. And so you guys keep us going. Thank you so much for your support of Now Playing, because we're not going to stop.
That's it?
It's all we can do.
Thank you for listening to this Now Playing Podcast movie review.
Sure hope somebody got that on tape.
We hope you enjoyed the show.
Way to go, Jack. Way to go.
Help us spread the word about this show by leaving a 5-star review on Stitcher, Podbean, iTunes, or your podcast store of choice.
Here's to you guys for doing your job and for not getting dead.
Want more reviews like this one? In the archives section of NowPlayingPodcast.com, you'll find more than 1,000 in-depth movie reviews from our panel of hosts.
Hey, don't forget about us.
On our site, you can hear reviews for every installment in the world's biggest film franchises, including the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Star Wars, Spider-Man, Batman, X-Men, James Bond, Middle-earth, Jurassic Park, Fast and Furious, and Transformers.
There's enough C4 on this thing to put a hole in the world.
Plus, we have individual movie reviews, such as Titanic, E.T., Inception, Big Hero 6, Ready Player One, Pulp Fiction, Apocalypse Now, Dr. Strangelove, and hundreds more.
Interactive TV, Jack. Wave of the future. Ha ha ha, huh?
And come back to NowPlayingPodcast.com next Tuesday for another all-new movie review podcast.
You still don't get it, do you, Jack? Huh? The beauty of it.
Support from listeners like you keeps Now Playing Podcast on the air.
Well, I want money, Jack. I wish that I had some loftier purpose, but I'm afraid in the end it's just the money, Jack.
You can donate directly by tapping the support button at NowPlayingPodcast.com.
No, this is about me. This is about my money. This is about money due me, which I will collect.
And you can join our crowdfunding campaign for early access to new episodes, exclusive reviews, and bonus reviews available for a one-time contribution.
Do you listen? Do you ever...
Need more Now Playing? Subscribe to our In Focus weekly newsletter for exclusive digital download giveaways, behind-the-scenes insights, and more. Sign up through the subscribe page on our website and get it delivered to your inbox every Friday.
I was just trying to make conversation.
You can also compare notes with us on Letterboxd. Go to letterboxd.com/nowplaying to see what our hosts are watching when we're not recording podcasts. And follow Now Playing on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our YouTube channel.
This guy's out of his mind.
Now Playing Podcast is produced by Arnie Carvalho.
Who is running the ship? Oh, yeah, I am.
Associate produced by Jason Latham.
Don't fuck with Daddy.
Now Playing is edited by Heath, Santiago, and Arnie.
This is taking way too long.
Now Playing credits read by Brock.
Who is this?
Someone you should start listening to.
The opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual hosts and may not reflect the views of Venganza Media Incorporated.
I think we have trust.
Venganza Media Incorporated is not affiliated with, and this podcast has not been prepared, approved, or licensed by any entity that created the film analyzed herein. All movie clips and music included in this podcast are the intellectual property of their respective copyright holders. They are included here for the purpose of review, and no infringement is intended.
There are rules, Jack, and I want you to get this right.
Now Playing Podcast is an exclusive trademark of and may not be used without the express written permission of Venganza Media Incorporated.
Guts will get you so far and then they'll get you killed. Luck runs out sooner or later.
Now Playing is a Venganza Media production, copyright 2024, and no part of this show may be reproduced, repurposed, or redistributed without the written permission of Venganza Media Incorporated. All rights reserved.
Was it good for you?
Oh, it's great for me. Or was it for you, honey?
Well, yeah, I mean, by the end, Dennis Hopper was doing Crow 4, so no, unfortunately, I don't believe he had hits near the end. This may have been a last hurrah for him as well.
Crow 4?
Yes.
Yeah.
What was he in Crow 4?
He was the head of that satanic cult.
Yeah.
Who was the pimp
Oh, right. When they finally got to the bordello. You're right. Okay.
Saying like lines that didn't make sense at all.
Yeah, all right. That's coming back to me.
That was your favorite Crow. How can you not remember it?
Well,